Hello and welcome to the Hotkeys podcast, your shortcut for everything pop culture and random in the world. I'm your host, Mick, and I'm joined by
Ben Stuart.
Landon Browning.
And we got a new voice that you've never heard before, but we've talked about him plenty in the show, Mr. Jona.
He's a musician.
How's it going, guys?
Father.
Good to be on.
Good. We're glad to have you here.
Lover.
We really appreciate you backing us on Patreon with the $100 a month tier.
No problem. I didn't know I was doing that, but I'm glad I could help.
That's what you signed, before you got in the room.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's what that blood stain was for.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, we're glad to have you here.
Yeah.
Have you listened to any of our episodes?
I've listened to most of them, actually.
I'm sorry.
Believe it or not.
Yeah. You're a top fan.
Yeah.
That's right.
What's your favorite episode, Jonah?
Most of them make me angry, I think, for the most part. Just because I think Landon just...
Oh, right out of the gate. Okay.
All his opinions go against my opinions, basically. So.
So, Jonah, last week, Landon kind of called you out.
I feel like the last couple weeks he
Last
did.
week, at the beginning of the episode, he said, "Oh, John was gonna be here,
Yeah,
but
he was saying, like,
chickened out."
Yeah, you're scared. You're a coward.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, I like having a little fun, poking the bear a little bit. Because
That's
I
fine,
know I'm going to get it pretty good this week.
And now, Landon, how do you feel now that Jonah is here in the room? Is there a bit of
Say
tension?
it to my face.
Is there anything you want to say to him?
Superman, he's all right.
I love Superman. He's the best.
Yeah.
It's cool.
So what? You're not a fan of Superman?
Nah, I don't like Superman.
Now, are you not a fan of Superman? Or are you not a fan of Man of Steel? Because those are two
Or
different.
are you not a fan of Jonah?
No, I like.
Or do you not like Jonah? Come on,
I like Jonah a lot.
bring
I
it.
just- I just don't. I don't like Superman. I thought Man of Steel was pretty boring.
Okay, so here's the first.
Here it comes.
I've
Wave
been-
one. Wave
I've
one.
been rehearsing
Ding
this.
ding.
You've been rehearsing it.
Yes, what I'm gonna say to you. Okay, I've been going over this in my mind for weeks. Movies are subjective, so I understand if you don't like Man of Steel.
But you're wrong.
My problem is, you watched it once, I think in theaters probably.
No, I watched it like
Okay.
a year ago. I think you were there.
So
for
just
it.
with us.
But you
the
had
one
watched
time.
it before that, right?
No.
Okay, this even gives more gravity to your point.
Because you were saying how bad Man of Steel was. And then we were like, well, we should watch it together. And then the whole time we were watching it, you were on your phone.
No, that's a lie. That's a ball-faced lie.
Jonah-
When you left, because we were going to watch Batman v Superman also, when you left, Mick and I both were like, he was on his phone the whole time.
There were-
the only time
there
you
were-
weren't on your phone was
Was when he was sleeping.
No, was in the movie when when they have their first battle in the little town.
Oh.
And you said that was the only part of the movie you really enjoyed. And I was like, because you weren't on your cell phone during that time.
No, so if I'm on
There
my
were
cell phone-
countless times where we were looking over at you and you were just on your phone. Just,
Okay, that's if a movie can't keep my attention, that's when the phone comes
But
in.
the thing is, you didn't even try
No,
in the
here's-
first place.
I tried.
You immediately got your phone.
No,
Here's the thing.
No.
In the podcast, when you were saying that you didn't like Man of Steel and that you didn't like Superman, the reason you said you didn't like Superman is because he was boring.
Yeah.
Okay? Well, Man of Steel is a movie that completely gives Superman, for the first time...
A very boring person.
No, they actually give him a story arc and something that he has to deal with, and the whole aspect of he doesn't know where he's from, he's
It's by-
confused, and they give him a great story arc that goes through the whole movie, and they do something unique in the movie where, not like every origin movie that they've done, where it's just kind of like, oh, straightforward. This goes into flashbacks. It's not...
It's not just completely linear.
Right, it's not linear. It goes into different parts, and it's something unique that's done. And so the first time they do a movie that's unique and different about Superman, you're like, I don't like it because it's boring. But you weren't really paying attention.
Well, I don't
to it.
like any of the other. I didn't like the 2006 Superman movie or whatever. What year did that one come out?
2006.
Oh, yeah.
Nailed it.
I didn't like that one. I didn't like that one at all. I mean, those are the only two I've seen. I guess Batman v Superman has Superman in it too, but the title. I didn't like that film either, though. I don't know.
But it's like, so you're a big Tarantino fan, right?
Yeah, I
you
like-
love his
yeah,
movies.
yeah.
So I'm not a big Tarantino fan.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you were to be like, hey, I want you to come over and watch Django or Hateful Eight or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I'll give it a try. And 5 minutes into the movie, I'm on my cell phone,
Nah.
And then I'm like laughing, and then I'll watch for like 5 minutes, and then be like, you would be like, and then at the end of the movie, you're like, what'd you think? I'm like, it was okay. I mean, it's really not that great of a movie. You'd be like, you didn't even watch the movie.
I don't remember being on my phone that much.
Dude, you were on your phone like the majority of the film.
I don't think
There were
was.
countless times where Jonah and I looked over at you, and that's what you were doing.
And then we'd look over at each other and go,
Just like, well, no wonder
Sad.
you don't like the movie. You're not watching the movie.
Landon, have you said exactly what you don't like? It's just boring.
I just
It's
don't. I thought Amy Adams as
Okay.
yeah, well,
what's
you're
her
in love
face?
with Amy.
Oh yes.
So
So, real
Sure.
quick, I'm just going to give you the merits of Man of Steel. I know you don't care, but
You're about to be educated.
I liked when he snapped that dude's neck at the end.
okay,
of the movie. Like,
that's
that was
great.
cool.
That's a
Spoilers.
great something new that they added to it, because most people are like, Superman can't kill anybody. But that whole movie leads up to that moment. First of all, the acting in that movie is phenomenal. Like, there's not a bad actor in that movie. I mean, Kevin Costner, you got Russell Crowe, Michael Shannon, Amy Adams, Henry Cavill, Diane Lane. I mean, it's insane. Lawrence Fishburne's in there. The amount of A-list actors in that movie is insane. So, acting is on point.
Okay.
Hans Zimmer's score of that movie,
that
is
alone should like be enough
phenomenal.
for you to like that movie.
like,
Okay, Dave, my brother, who
He doesn't like that.
is very open about
He
not
doesn't.
liking the DC movies. He even said the score to Man of Steel was amazing, and he loved it.
But he didn't like the movie.
Well, he didn't pay attention like you
Dave's a hater. Edit it out, Dave.
I'm not. Yeah.
I
Do
dare
it. Yeah. You can't shut us
So,
up forever.
Soundtrack, Hans Zimmer, incredible. But just real quick, the element of story that is told in that movie and the story arc of Superman is something that's just brilliant that you don't get in most comic book movies. Like,
And to be fair, I don't like most comic book movies in
That's
general. So
I love Man of Steel so much that I never thought. So, my favorite, I'm a huge Batman nerd,
yeah,
and I love The Dark Knight. I know you like The Dark Knight.
I like all the Dark.
The
Dark Knight
more I watch
trilogy.
Man of Steel, the more I think it's a better movie than The Dark Knight.
I'm kind of on the internet here, and I'm seeing like a Reddit thread of people asking the same question of why did people not like Man of Steel? And I was just reading like, yeah, I went back and watched it, and the soundtrack and the acting is what you're all saying is like, it's a good movie. Why did people hate it? Do you know why?
Because people are dumb.
Well, people also have some weird like bias against Zack Snyder too, the director of the film. Like I think one of his previous movies was Watchmen, which takes one of the most beloved graphic novel stories and he put it to film. But what he did was he changed a little bit of it, and that just immediately sets off the diehard fans, which is fine. I mean, you can have your own opinion, but to then judge like his next movies just because it's that same director, I think is unfair. And there are a lot of like vocal Zack Snyder haters out there.
Yeah, there are. That's one thing. A lot of people just don't like Zack Snyder. I think a lot of things I've seen where people hate it, they hate that Superman kills Zod.
Okay.
Which, interesting story about that. Christopher Nolan is a producer on that movie. And Zack Snyder called him up and said, hey, Superman is going to kill Zod at the end. And Christopher Nolan was like, nope, no, there's no way you can do that. And Zack Snyder was like, we're going to come over and we're going to present to you.
It was him and David S. Goyer, right?
And so they went and they shared the whole story, and that scene where Superman has to decide either to save this family or kill the only person that's left of his heritage, of his planet, and that terrible decision he has to make. And Christopher Nolan was like, okay, like that's the only reason you guys convinced me that you guys can do that. So I think a lot of people have this idea of Superman like, oh, he's never killed anybody. So they hate it for that. I think there's an element to the movie that I've seen a lot of people complain about how blatant it is depicting Superman as a Christ figure. I mean, there's a ton of stuff in that movie that's just on the nose, which I personally love.
Well, it just gives more to his like being the savior of this world,
right?
Like of that universe's planet.
I mean, even there's a part in the movie where he's in a church and he has to turn himself in to Zod, and he's asking a priest, right? And right behind him, there's a stained glass window of Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane.
What does the priest say? I think he says something really cool in that part.
He says you just need to take a leap of faith.
Oh, okay.
Right. And so that depiction of
and the trust part
Superman
okay.
right in front of Jesus in that same kind of predicament. And then even more so when he's up on the spaceship and Russell Crowe playing his father, you know, he tells him to look out, and he sees Lois Lane going down to Earth, and you see the whole planet, and he says, you can save her, or you can save them, you can save all of them. And Superman goes out and he does kind of
he's in that Christ
the
pose,
sign of the cross, and then I mean that is just blatant, and a lot of people don't like that, but really that's kind of what Superman, those themes have always been in the comics. And so I think those are kind of things that a lot of people dislike. And there's a big complaint, which I don't get either, about all the destruction that that happens at the end. They're like, oh, he probably killed like thousands of people and all this stuff. And I'm like, well, he's been Superman for a day. This guy comes in that wants to destroy the whole planet, and he's throwing them through buildings. What's he supposed to do, kind of thing. And Batman v Superman actually addresses that later on.
Well, yeah,
so
there's a lot of outrage towards him, right? Isn't
right,
kind of hated,
and that's the whole thing. And I think that whole aspect of, oh man, he's not saving people. Look at all the destruction he caused. It's like, it's a movie. Like,
well, yeah, that's another weird complaint that I've heard is he never saves anybody. Like, he doesn't save anybody in the movie. But I mean, starting from the beginning, you go and you look like, okay, he saved these people from the classmates on the bus. He saved the people on the oil platform, and he saves a couple of other people throughout the movie. But then at the end, it's like he saved the entire planet. Like, how can you not count that? Like,
right.
How does that go over your head? Like, that you can't realize that he just saved, 7 billion people.
I'm seeing online that people are saying Zack Snyder hates Superman. Do you know anything about that?
Again, it's the whole thing.
Okay.
Because one of the things they always complain about, they're like, Superman doesn't smile. Superman, in the comics books and the Christopher Reeves movies, it's like Superman was the Boy Scout and all this stuff. Well, what Zack Snyder did is he kind of took the same approach that Christopher Nolan did with the Dark Knight trilogy, where he wanted to ground it in reality more.
Yeah.
And so Zack Snyder did the same thing with Superman. I want to ground this. It's a story about somebody that doesn't know where they come from, where his dad, there's a scene in the beginning where his dad is talking to him and says, he lets him know that he's from another planet and everything. And Clark says, can I just keep pretending I'm your son? And Kevin Costner says, you are my son, but somewhere out there you have another father. And imagine being a kid and having that weight put on you. Okay, you're from another planet, you have another father, you don't know where you're from. And so the whole story is really rooted in Clark trying to figure out who he is.
And taking the burden of being this superhuman.
So this all seems to be adding up to equal a very terrible movie.
Yeah.
Why?
You've buried yourself, Jonah. Your own words have condemned you.
It's actually a great movie because let me ask you, who are you?
I don't have an opinion on the movie.
But I'm
clearly you do, because you just said.
I'm trying to play devil's advocate for Landon here because he's kind of cowering in the corner right now.
Well, I'm just saying, like, those are questions that we all have, and to really put those questions on a superhero. The reason I like Man of Steel better than any MCU movie,
because others don't do that,
is because it's all superficial, and this one goes deep into those questions of who are you, why are you here, where, like, what makes you belong to something. And Superman deals with those questions. Man of Steel deals with those questions in a way that's real, and that you would think something like, oh, it's just a comic book movie, but the more you watch it, the more you think about those themes, and realize that, it leaves you with questions, and you're like, man, that's really cool how they do that. And I
It-
think
it-
that's
yeah.
the difference.
Yeah, it asks real world questions that doesn't just have to apply to Superman or Batman or whatever comic book character. That's what makes the movie so relatable to us as humans, is that we can take those questions that it asks and answer it ourselves.
Mhm.
Like I would argue, like the previous Superman stuff, I don't think comes anywhere close to making it that relatable. So with that, Landon, your big argument is Superman isn't relatable. If you're thinking about it that way with those, shows or movies or whatever, I understand that because they don't really go into that much.
Yeah, I didn't I didn't find him.
You
crying?
choked up?
Cat got your tongue.
Yeah, I still didn't find him very relatable in Man of Steel.
Well, yeah, because you were on your
Did you
cell
find
phone
your
the
cell
whole
phone
time.
relatable? Because
You guys
No.
keep saying that, but I wasn't on my phone that
You
much.
were.
I probably
You
was on it for-
absolutely
I
were.
I bet I was on it for a cumulative 5 minutes of the time.
absolutely not. No.
It's fine. It's not like I'm gonna convince you to like
Yeah,
it,
no,
but I'm
that's-
just trying to put out there like the reasons I like it
No,
and the
I-
merits of it, because
no,
I
I
think a
don't-
lot of people go to it and see it like, oh, I heard this movie sucks. Like I've talked to a lot of people that are like, oh, I heard Man of Steel sucks. I'm like, oh, have you seen it? Oh no, I just heard it sucks. And I'm like, well, you should watch it. And then once they watch it, they're like, wow, that was a really good movie. And I just think a lot of that is based on, there's this whole thing like, oh, DC movies suck and Marvel movies are good. And then people just go with that, and then they're once they watch the movies, they're like, oh, that's actually pretty good. Because I think DC movies, in my opinion, have gone in deeper on character stuff where other comic book movies don't. Where I feel like DC movies feel more like Christopher Nolan movies, more artistic and deeper than Marvel movies that are just kind of a formula. Like,
Well, the Marvel-
throw action, throw comedy, and then, oh, that was fun, right? And then you forget about the movies.
Oh yeah, I can't.
A day
remember-
later.
I can't remember the plot of almost any Marvel movie I've seen.
Well, because
so-
they're all the same.
Well, yeah, they're very much. They're just. You go see it in theaters with your friends because everybody's talking about it. You watch it, you're like, oh, that was fun, and then probably literally a day later, you're like, what happened in that movie? Like, so.
But we're good. We can stop talking about Man of Steel. I just wanted to...
No, you articulated your points very well.
I think you postured a good argument.
You won't change my mind, but I can respect your
Alright,
opinion. Oh.
That's good.
So Batman v Superman.
No, please, no.
But like, okay, so Jonah and I are pretty big DC fans, and we saw Justice League when it came out. That one, we recognize isn't that great of a movie, and so I just want to assure everybody that we're not like
Not a bunch of fanboys.
Well, yeah, we're not totally biased. We can see that, a movie in our universe that we like isn't that great.
What do you think about Suicide Squad?
The more I watch it, the more I don't like it. When I first saw it, I thought it was pretty good, but I have slowly kind of stopped liking it.
Okay.
I thought everyone hated that one.
Yeah.
So here's the thing.
I didn't watch that one, so I have no
Suicide Squad. Again, this is where I get my problems lie. There are a bunch of terrible Marvel movies that I think are worse than Suicide Squad, or
Like-
equally as bad.
I would agree.
Like what?
But
What are they?
Like Thor 2.
like Thor 2
Okay.
is terrible. Iron Man 3 is
Iron Man 3.
atrocious. Iron Man 2 is pretty bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy 2
I don't
is
even-
pretty
I
bad.
didn't even bother to watch
Um,
that one.
Yeah.
Ant-Man 2 is pretty bad.
Hmm.
I mean, there's several movies in the list.
Captain Marvel.
Yeah,
Hulk-
Captain Marvel's pretty terrible.
Right? So there's several movies, but don't get the hate that Suicide Squad gets. And I think Suicide Squad has some really good things and then has some plot points that you're like, that was bad. But I don't think in no way it's like it shouldn't get a 23 on Rotten Tomatoes where a Thor 2 gets a 70.
Well,
I
and
mean,
the thing
you know
is
what I'm
too,
saying?
with
Yeah.
specifically with Suicide Squad, at least they're trying something different.
I didn't feel like they tried anything different. Like they were like, oh, it's about villains, but it's like none of them acted like villains. in that movie.
bad guys.
Oh gosh.
we do.
I didn't feel like they acted like bad
Will
guys,
Smith was
though.
pretty awesome as
He was okay.
Deadshot.
Margot Robbie was pretty good as Harley Quinn.
Okay.
That's about the
If
only
Amy
thing I can-
Adams was in the movie, it'd be your favorite
It'd
movie of all
probably be like
time.
a 9 out of 10, probably. But
But here's here's another thing too. So you mentioned Justice League.
I didn't watch that one, so.
So Justice League, the reason it's bad is because they didn't trust Zack Snyder to finish his trilogy, and the movie is.
Well, didn't he have some personal stuff happen?
His daughter committed suicide, and so he left the movie.
And it was like right after it all was filmed. It was just in the post production.
And so they brought in Joss Whedon in, and he because they didn't like what Zack Snyder was doing. They were afraid it was too dark because of the complaints of Batman v Superman. And so they reshot a bunch of it and cut a bunch of stuff out. And so that's why that movie isn't very good, is because it's two different filmmakers making two different movies. In Suicide Squad, there's rumors that the same thing happened, where David Ayer was going to do something, and the studio was like, no, we're afraid people are going to think it's too dark. So they tried to Marvelize it, I guess, in a certain way, and that movie is destroyed.
Yeah, especially if you look at like the early trailers. Clearly, it was a different movie than what was.
I remember seeing the trailer for it and being actually really excited.
Right.
For
Yeah.
And so that's one of the problems. And now that they got rid of the guy that was in charge, their movies seem to be kind of like they're letting their directors do what they want. Like Aquaman was better. A lot of people liked it. Shazam was good. And so I think if they let their directors make their movies and not try to interfere and try to be like, hey, we need to be like Marvel or we need to do this, just let their directors have ideas. That's why I think the new Joker movie might be pretty good.
I'm intrigued by that. I think what's his name, Joaquin
Phoenix.
He's great.
He'll be a good Joker.
And the new Batman trilogy that Reeves is doing, I mean, he's a great director. That's going to be cool. So I think if they let their directors finish their movies, it's going to...
And I like that they're going in more of a direction, like it seems like they're getting away from doing like the extended universe. Like
everything interconnected.
Yeah, like I'm not like a big fan. I think that like weakens the individual movies when it's like Marvel's like they were building for Endgame. Like they, everything's like, oh, it's tied into Endgame. Like, oh, you should go see Captain Marvel because there's 5 minutes at the end that's gonna tie you into Endgame or whatever. Like, I would be down if like that Batman trilogy, which I'm pretty excited for too, because I really like Batman. Like, I'd be down if that's 3 Batman movies, not tied into anything else that they're doing. Not even tied in with the Joker movie, just separate 3 movies, and then have a like that Joker movie, then do other one-off films. Like,
and that's what they say they're doing. The positives of a cinematic universe is like you said, like when you have an end game. I mean, you make a ton of money, the stakes are higher, because you've been leading up to that. Yeah. But I think the weaknesses of it, and one of the big problems I have with the Marvel movies is it just creates a ton of plot holes. Like, for example, in Iron Man 3, they kidnap the president, and Iron Man has to, like, rescue him, and I'm like, where's Captain America? Like,
where's the Avengers?
Wouldn't you think? Where's everybody else? It was right after of the first Avengers movie, so I'm like, you'd think the president of the United States being kidnapped and almost being killed would make the Hulk come, Captain America, Black Widow, but and so it just creates these plot holes where you have to be like, okay, where are all these characters in this moment, and then you go and look at the timeline of the movies and you're like, really, all these 5 movies take place in 3 months from each other? It's just kind of like I know you kind of have to shut your brain off to be like, okay, I just don't need to think about those things. But I end up thinking about those things and being like, oh, that was a plot hole.
Which Marvel movies do you like? And I guess not even have to be the MCU ones, but
the first Iron Man I think is great. I like the first Avengers. The more they've gone on, the more I've been like, I've seen this movie before. Right. I've seen this movie before. Right. I had the last one I saw in theaters was Black Panther, and I enjoyed that one. That's the last one I've seen in theaters. I just kind of wait till they're on. So Netflix or Redbox.
I guess they won't be on Netflix though for much longer. Yeah, they'll be moving over to the
Disney Plus for the Star Wars shows.
I'm excited for that Mandalorian.
Oh, that's gonna be great.
So I've been on my phone this whole conversation, and I have to say,
Jonah and I have been looking at you the entire time,
and I have to say this podcast is very boring.
It's not relatable.
It's not relatable.
Landon, do you see what just happened?
Nicely done, Ben.
Yeah. Do you like Logan?
Logan's great. Yeah, I really like Logan. I really like the X-Men movies. a lot of them, some of them were really bad, but First Class was
I
great.
haven't seen that one.
First Class is good.
First Class and Days of Future Past and Logan, I think, are better than most MCU films.
Yeah. I just like Logan for the same thing of it being like it's kind of its own movie. Like
Right.
it still has Hugh Jackman and what's the other guy's name? The actor that plays was it Professor X or whatever?
Patrick Stewart.
Yeah, Patrick
Yeah,
Stewart.
like I like that they're still in it. Like it's still, but like it's
Right.
none of the other ones are there. It's like kind of more of like
Logan,
yeah.
Well, and what was really cool
would
about
you
it...
like some breakfast?
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's not bad.
What I liked about it too is though they gave you like a backstory. So like, you know, they kind of hint at Professor X, like it's his fault that all the X-Men died. You know, they kind of hint at that in that movie, but they don't explain it. They just kind of leave it there
In
for
Logan?
you to kind of interpret it. Yeah.
Oh.
Right, they keep saying like the what's the name of his school, or like his
School for the
like the
Gifted?
town that he's in, like the town that his school's in. They keep saying it's that event. Like
Yeah.
Hmm.
And he does his brain thing, you know, when he's off his meds and it freezes everybody.
Yeah.
And so he has these moments where he's like apologizing for, I mean, he must have done something where it killed a bunch of people. But they never explain it. They just leave it there and you
You get to
wonder
imagine
about
what
it.
happened,
Yeah.
like-
And it's never fully explained. But
And
it's
they-
kind of
yeah.
hinted at. And I love that. I think that's should be done more in movies. But nowadays we want everything answered.
Yeah.
You know, it's always like, well, why did that happen? How did that happen? And if they don't answer it, you're like, oh, plot hole. But it's like sometimes you just want to introduce something and then have the audience just kind of
Yeah,
imagine it
yeah.
or put their own spin on
sometimes
it.
Right.
sometimes the answer to the question is not very satisfying.
Right.
Like when you could think about it, and like that story, like they left some cool things unanswered, but like they traded it for like a really personal,
Right.
really smaller scale story. Like they're not trying to save the world or anything. It's like just a guy trying to get like some
Right.
kids out, basically. Like
Mhm. Yeah, the story of Logan is pretty simple.
yeah,
It's not complicated.
Yeah,
at
it's
all.
about the characters. It becomes about
It's not. I need to stop this person from destroying the world type
Mhm.
yeah,
of thing.
I'd say that was one of my favorites. Yeah.
yeah.
Gosh, when did that come out? That was like 2 years ago, wasn't
That
it?
was longer than that.
More
I
than
thought.
that, yeah. Well,
Wasn't it
maybe
17?
because it won the Oscar
I thought it was
last
17.
year. It won the Oscar for screenplay, didn't it?
It felt like a long time ago.
Yeah.
I think it came out like March 2017. It feels a lot
Yeah, it
longer.
does.
But yeah, that's a great movie. Speaking of great movies, we just watched Toy Story 4 last night.
I did not, but continue.
Spoilers.
Spoilers.
Go ahead.
Dude, when
won't
Andy
ruin it.
comes back and like kills all the toys, like
He kills them.
it shakes you. To
That
your core.
lawnmower scene with the toys was
Yeah.
insane.
They really pushed. They pushed that G rating.
Was this a G or PG?
I don't know. Probably.
I feel like there's no G movies anymore.
No, I don't know.
It's probably a PG, I think,
Yeah, that's what I would think too. But
because of all the cussing.
shut the toy up. So what did you think about it?
Oh, it was great. Absolutely. I was going in kind of nervous. Well, the first couple weeks.
You're afraid of the
once
sport
the
character.
once the reviews hit and everyone was like, "This is amazing," I was like, "Okay, it's gonna be amazing." But just because 1, 2, and 3 are like a perfect trilogy,
Yeah.
and 3 had such a great ending, but the more I think about it, the more I like 4 the most out of all 3.
Wow.
Really?
Like, just because of no spoilers, but the ending of it. I mean, I just think it closes the arc of a certain character in a perfect way.
Woody.
Mhm.
And it's just,
Buzz.
I mean, the third one was kind of great closure for Andy.
Right.
But this one was a great closure for the
Well,
toys, and I think that's kind of
yeah.
what was missing in 3.
Right.
And this kind of just wrapped it all up. So
Well, I had talked to Landon about this. He said to me that it felt more like the epilogue of 3,
Mhm.
and I think that
I
that
didn't.
fits.
I didn't come up with that though. I read
Well,
that,
but you
like,
were the
so,
one that
like,
told
yeah,
me.
I just don't-
don't
just
say you
take
didn't come up with it,
take
just say
credit.
yeah.
Yeah, just
Okay,
take
okay,
credit for
all
it
right,
next
yeah.
time. And like seeing it that way, it makes perfect sense, especially if you had just seen 3. But yeah, like 3 to me, it felt like the perfect ending for Toy Story, and 4 was like the perfect ending for somebody else.
Woody.
So
Was it Woody?
You'll never know.
We're not spoiling it.
Do you want it?
I mean,
I don't care. I'm not gonna watch it. It's a kids movie. I'm an adult.
Oh, it's not a kids movie.
we went to a showing at like 9:50 last night, and there were like a bunch of college students in there, and
That guy that was laughing
Oh my
at the
gosh,
end
yeah.
when they were like shooting the laser eyes.
Yeah.
He was like, wow.
It was a little over that.
That was his, like, he's never laughed that hard in his life.
Yeah.
It's the funniest thing he's ever seen.
Did you guys tear up at all?
I did.
There were
I did.
definitely
I
some,
choked up
some
at the
teary
end. Like,
moments.
I wanted to look and see if Mick and acquaintance of the show, Colby, were crying. But like, I didn't want them to look at me
Well,
and
that's the
them
thing.
not be crying.
I
and then be
was like, I'm tearing up. I'm not gonna look over because then people see the little like.
Well, and it
glitter
gets to a
thing.
point when you're in a movie theater that you're in there for the movie. You're not in there for other people's reactions.
Right.
So like the moment you like start looking at other people or someone's looking at you and like, oh, you crying? Like that just, at least to me, that completely takes me out of the movie and it just ruins it.
That really ticks Mick off.
Yeah. I would get so mad.
But going back to what you said, oh, it's a kids movie.
Yeah.
Pixar makes kids movies, but they're so
For kids.
emotional. No, they're so emotional, and they have these great themes that kids don't get.
Yeah.
Like, and the parents that go and watch them, or in our case, the dudes that go and watch it, it really strikes a chord with you. Like,
Yeah.
so.
Well, especially when you grew up with the first three movies.
Absolutely.
Like
yeah,
Toy Story, the first one was like one of the first movies I remember
Right.
seeing.
yeah.
And that just sticks with you as a kid until like, oh, they're making
Right.
the fourth one like 30 years later.
And let's be honest, when they made this movie, they had in mind fans of Toy Story who would now have their own kids who were going to go
Absolutely.
watch this.
Yeah.
Yep.
They are making it for new kids to come and watch these, but they do have in mind fans of Toy Story who are grown men now and grown women. So I think what I loved is the opening of it, like when they go 9 years ago and they kind of show what happened to Bo Peep.
Mm-hmm.
Which is cool because she wasn't in the third one. So
Well,
you're kinda
the way they like went about it in the third one, it was like, what happened to Bo
Right.
Peep? Like, was
Yeah,
she like
but-
smashed or something?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, so it was really cool. And that whole that scene where he's got his hands on the box, you know, right at the beginning,
Yep.
and he's like questioning, and then
Yeah.
he hears Andy's voice, and then to the end of the movie when he has his hands on
yeah.
and it's the kind of the same shot. I was
Right.
like, that is just
It's
brilliant.
Yeah.
filmmaking. Like that.
Yeah.
That's not a kids movie. That's just art.
Right.
Like it's just incredible. And that's when I started to kind of tear up.
Yep.
And then it was like, oh, this is good. And the music was
I
fantastic.
love the way it started. It just started with the "You Got a Friend in Me"
Yeah.
song. It just felt so like classic Toy Story.
Yeah.
Johnny,
It's
can
great.
you do your best Randy Newman impression?
I can't.
got a friend in me.
There you go. That's good.
So we got Randy Newman and Professor X in this podcast.
That's what you guys got to do. Okay, Landon, you got to figure out a character, and then the three of you just do your podcast with those guys.
I'll do Smeagol.
I'm Charles Xavier.
I'll get the
Can
Smeagol.
it be? I can fly if I wanted to.
There you go. Change the name of the podcast. Figure
Toy
out how
Story
to.
podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really good. It was a good movie.
Yeah.
There, the Forky stuff. So
I
was
didn't
dying.
know. I
It was
didn't think
so
I would like
funny.
that character at all, but he was like he cracked me up.
He was great. Yeah.
I think this was by far the like funniest Toy Story out of the four.
That's what I told my brother. I was like, I'd laugh more than in any other Toy Story.
Yeah.
It was really funny, but then it had a ton of heart, which is what Pixar always does.
right.
But my brother Josh was like, I wish they would have had more of the characters like the G.I. Joe guys. Those guys were like
They're so funny.
in one scene,
The
but
guy-
they were hilarious. Like the high five.
Yeah.
And
I
the
like
guy's
the-
like waiting there. He's like,
It happens to him
What he-
twice. He's like, oh, okay.
What does he say? He's like, you got a kid? Way to beat the odds.
"Way to beat the old soldier.
yeah.
There's a pinata party. Let's go."
I feel like I really missed out.
You did.
You did. Yeah. Have you've seen all three of them?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. I actually just watched 3 last night.
Oh, your church did like a thing,
yeah,
right?
yeah, we watched it.
Oh.
Rusty was like, "Oh, we're doing the thing." I was like, "I'm gonna go watch number 4. You
Yeah,
guys can watch
yeah.
3."
So that's what I was doing. Yeah,
Nice.
missed out.
Lots of hugging bear.
Huggin' Bear,
Yeah,
the
Lotso.
one that smells
Lotso.
like yeah, Lotso.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, he smells like strawberries. Right?
Yeah.
I was like half paying attention.
Were you on your
Were you on your phone?
Yeah, I was.
Probably.
Not a good movie.
Whoa.
I was bored the whole time.
Just real quick, the other thing I really liked about 4 was the villain character and how they kind of redeem her in a way. Like, you know, it's kind of been in all the other Toy Stories. It's like, oh, the bad guy gets what's coming to him, and this was like, you really felt bad for her. And that scene, maybe it's because I have a daughter now, but that scene where the girl's lost and she's crying, that really got me too. And I was like, because I was probably imagining, what would my daughter be doing if she was lost?
Right, yeah.
And how that whole scene is done and what they do with her, and that it was just beautiful, you know.
Yeah.
And so Pixar just they hit it out of the park every time.
Because they could have easily made this villain like another Lotso,
right,
or you know,
or
another
the Stinky Pete,
or something. But yeah, it's cool that they changed it up.
Gosh, I really missed out.
It's a great movie, dude.
It's really good.
I'm excited to see it when I do.
Wow. Go see it tonight.
Or maybe
Tomorrow.
Maybe.
Or Monday.
Maybe.
The Key and Peele characters.
They were good too,
Gosh,
yeah.
they're so funny.
Yeah.
I loved all the their like thoughts, ideas for
how to get the key.
how to get the key and stuff.
And then when they're like, "How did you get the key?" and they show it, and they're like, "It was really hard."
Yeah. I wish, and I talked to Mick about this too. Like, I wish Buzz was in it a little bit more.
Well,
Yeah.
that was kind of my complaint about the third one too. Is just it didn't seem like there was enough like Woody and Buzz stuff. Like to me, that's like a huge part of Toy Story is their relationship and you know their friendship with each other. And the last two movies, it just didn't really feel like it was quite there. I don't know if that's just
well,
me.
I think it's because you have to introduce so many new characters.
Yeah.
And they do such a good job with the new characters.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason they do such a good job with the new characters is they gave them time, you know? And so obviously that takes away from the old. Like in this one, I'm not a huge fan, of Jessie, you know, the cowgirl. Like she's okay, but and so she did like one thing in this movie, and so
pretty much
because they had to introduce so many other people. But I think I showed an interview to my brother last night when I got home. There's an interview of Tom Hanks and Tim Allen talking about the last recording they did, and Tim Allen's like he's almost crying in the interview.
Oh wow!
Like when he reads the script, he's like, I was like, they can't do this. Like they can't do this. And then he was like, and I kind of told him, hey, can we rewrite this? And kind of he's like, and I gave him ideas of a way that we could change the movie. And we kind of went for it for a while, and then we got to a point where they said, no, we're gonna do what we decided. And he's like,
dang.
and they didn't tell Tom Hanks and Tim Allen when their last lines were like.
Oh wow!
And so
my gosh.
when they finished, they were like, well, that's it. And Tom Hanks was like, I realized that was the last time I was gonna say any lines for Woody. And the interview was it's like you're like, dang. And Tim Allen and Tom Hanks are talking about how their characters, like we started recording in '92, you know, and then that's when we first met, and now we've become really good friends. And so it's pretty intense.
That's emotional.
Pretty crazy.
Like, yeah.
So
like, because they influence a lot of people.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, you know, with those characters.
So Woody got thrown into a wood chipper.
Yeah.
Very fitting end. Well, so with Tim Allen's or who's the voice actor?
Tim Allen's Buzz Lightyear, and Tom Hanks is Woody.
Tom Hanks was just screaming. I assume those were his last lines. Well, you know, the upper half of his body is still.
Why does this line say "not like this"? Ah!
But there's no bad character in that movie. Like even the Keanu Reeves character.
Oh my
is
god,
awesome.
So good.
Wait, Keanu Reeves is in it?
Yes, yes.
Of course.
He plays a stunt
so
toy,
good.
like
A Canadian
Knievel,
stunt toy. Yeah.
Okay, that's
So
awesome.
funny. All of his like
boom kaboom.
Yeah,
is that
boom.
what it is? It's so good.
I really gotta watch.
Just
this
his
now.
delivery of stuff is just so funny.
Yeah, I could just picture it. I could just picture him saying the lines.
Well, it's amazing how they can just make perfect movies. Like there's really not every character, even the Polly Pocket kind of like the cop. Everything in it was just spot on. Like there's nothing you can go into that movie and be like, oh, I didn't like that, you know, because everything's just done so well.
Yeah.
Even the villains, the creepy.
Oh gosh,
Oh, they were so scary. They were
those
so
like
scary.
freaked me out. They were like
I jumped at
bizarrely
one point when
creepy.
they like jumped and I was like, oh.
I loved every time they'd get hit, they'd make like a weird.
Yeah, like they couldn't talk.
They couldn't
like,
talk. They're just like.
This movie sounds very dynamic
It's-
and intense.
It's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. It's good.
Yeah.
Yep. Definitely recommend.
So Jona, you said it was probably your favorite out of the 4.
Yeah, I probably have to watch it a little more and probably go back and watch because I haven't watched 1, 2, and 3 for a couple years. But just my enjoyment of it was through the roof. I really liked it. So for me right now, just watching it once, I put it as my favorite. Like you said, it was the funniest one.
Yeah.
And it had just a ton of heart in it. That very emotional. And I just thought it was a perfect ending for Woody.
Yeah.
Whereas you had the perfect ending for Andy and Woody in the last one. This was kind of like Woody now dealing with the aftermath of that, and now he got closure, because it was kind of closure for Andy and us as the audience that grew up with the toys, and this was more like closure for the toy, and I think that was really cool. So I really liked it.
What about you, Landon? Where would you place it?
I think I still like the first one the most, just because I have the most memories with that one. Because when did 3 come out? I was
2010, 2011.
So that was the only one I saw in theaters before this one. So I grew up watching 1 and 2, and I always liked 1 more than 2, and then I really liked 3. I saw 3 in theaters on my birthday, I think, and that was same thing, like that closure, like that. I remember tearing up a lot in that movie. So I'd probably go 1, 3, 4, 2. Let's rank them. I mean, but
Right.
the separation between, it's not like 2's a bad movie. They're all 9s and 10s basically.
Yeah, there's certain. So whenever you have rankings, if we were to do a Star Wars ranking, and I said Attack of the Clones is my favorite, you'd have people screaming no way, right? But Toy Story, if you rank, there's no bad ranking because you can see someone being oh, number 3 is my favorite, and you can be oh, I can see that.
Yeah, okay, that
number
makes
1's my
sense.
favorite. I can see that. Even number 2, people I can see that. But so there's no. I think that this is 4 movies that are all pretty even.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say I think number 2 is probably my favorite.
You're wrong.
No.
What an idiot.
But yeah, just like we're saying, they're so perfect in their own way that it's kind of hard to choose a favorite.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at just the trilogy. It's probably one of the best trilogies of all time,
Yeah.
and that's saying a lot for an animated toy movie.
Oh, absolutely.
An animated series of movies that spanned. When did the first one come out? Was it
94,
94 to
2019.
2019? So that's
25
incredible.
years.
Yeah, 25 years, and every movie's good, and they feel like the same. It's not like it doesn't feel different,
Right. They feel all the characters are they grow with you, but they're consistent with the characters.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So Ben, you should watch the 4th one.
Yeah, I'll watch it soon.
Oh.
Am I gonna rank them?
Do you want to rank? Do you want to rank all 4?
Well, I want to say my favorite scene from 4 was because they killed off Woody, right?
In the first 5 minutes, he's dead. Yeah.
Wood chipper.
The closure for him.
I really liked how they killed off Buzz. How he kind of fell into the ocean. He's kind of heavy, so he just sinks. And the pressure, he's got his helmet on. He thinks, but they can't breathe. But so he falls, and then the pressure just starts collapsing his glass helmet, starts cracking. It's yeah, that's a good fitting end for Buzz. I think how he got crushed by water pressure. It gets dark down there too.
So 4's your favorite?
Yeah. I think it's got to go 4, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's
awesome. I'm glad you gave us your list.
Very genuine rankings.
Now drink your tea and
Yeah, Ben has left a cup of tea here
no.
for
Landon has left it here.
for 4 weeks now.
No.
The same gross looking green tea.
I'm not drinking it. It's been here.
Clearly,
for
you're
3
not
weeks.
drinking it. It's obvious you're not drinking.
It's got chunks in the bottom.
That's not a tea bag in there. It's actually just a
Mold.
ball of mold.
I'm actually excited for when it actually completely like breaks apart and it's just just all
It's actually Jello. Like you can eat it. Get a spoon and eat your tea.
green tea flavored.
Nasty.
might have something there.
Yeah.
So I showed you guys a video before we started of.
I don't like this video.
It's pretty disturbing. Where I first saw it was on one of those TV shows. It's like the mysterious and unexplained stuff that happens in the world, and the video is of this girl in, I think it's Mexico, where she's standing on a street corner, and it seems like nothing just hits her, and she like falls to the ground really violently, and I mean it looks like she gets shot in the head. And the show's like, what's happened, and they get like experts to like analyze the film, and like, well, it's definitely a spirit. It's definitely a spirit that does it. It's a big Catholic.
So no one knows what did it.
Well,
It was the garbage truck.
it was the
wasn't
truck. Yeah, so a truck passes her, and I guess there was some type of telephone line that was stuck on the truck, and so it was just dragging it down the street from where it's connected to the pole, and it just clotheslines this girl, and she just violently flies.
So she's getting shocked and violently thrown.
I mean, I don't
there's
think.
any power.
I
I
think
don't
if she
think
would have
there's
gotten
any
shocked,
power.
she would have died.
Oh yeah, she probably would have exploded.
But yeah, it looks like
Like
it
Buzz
looks like
Lightyear.
nothing hits her, and
Buzz
she just
Lightyear.
flies. But yeah, that was pretty violent looking.
I love fail videos.
Thank you. I watch fail videos all the time, and I always get made fun of it.
But you
when-
watch like the same ones.
No, but you gotta watch them. There's the ones I like are the ones where you're like, oh man, that was funny. There are other ones that you're like, where people just get destroyed, and you're like, oh, that wasn't funny because that guy's probably dead.
Yeah.
I've
So
definitely
they have
seen
to
some
be
more
certain like where I normally like to see the person at the end laughing or getting up like, oh, that was.
What's
stupid.
crazy to me is seeing something that's like, okay, that should have like at least paralyzed a person, if not killed them, and they get up and they're like laughing. It's like, how are you not
just
hurt?
adrenaline.
Like, what in the world?
Once they turn the camera off, his legs snap.
like you just like your skateboard went up your face and you're totally fine. Like
the ones that really get me are like the cliff jumping fail ones where like they're like hesitating and they like slip
Oh,
and they like
those are
hit like
terrible.
a couple sides of the cliff and you're like, oh my gosh,
like Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible 2.
that's such a bad movie.
Were you on your phone when you watched it?
no,
No, I just know.
No, that's a bad movie.
I remember watching that one being like, oh my gosh, like this is terrible. Like,
Yeah, it's bad.
Who was the director? Was that what was his name?
The Asian guy.
Yeah,
is it John?
John Woo.
Yeah.
Is that
Goodman?
it? Yeah,
That movie.
John Goodman. It's the only one I know.
such a bad movie.
The new ones are good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the new
no,
ones
the
are
new ones are
really
great.
good. They've completely turned that franchise around.
Even like 1 and 3 weren't terrible, but like starting,
I thought 3 was really good.
yeah, but starting with like 4,
Yeah, 4 they just gotten good,
yeah.
yeah.
better and better.
I wish Henry Cavill would still be in them though.
Oh,
Yeah, he was
He's so
yeah,
good.
Yeah, he was really
That was,
good.
that was kind of a bittersweet thing because I wanted him to survive. Spoilers.
Oh,
but,
he does not.
I don't think he lives through
No,
that movie.
no, he meets a very violent end.
and his stash was amazing, although it ruined the Justice League movie.
Yeah. Yeah, he's one of the few people that looks good with a mustache. Oh, okay,
Jonah.
just a mustache.
Oh, well, tomorrow I'm gonna shave this stuff off so you can see me just a mustache.
Dude, he would look like Mario.
Yeah,
My-
a bit like Mario.
My wife hates it when I do that because she's like, "You look like my dad."
Okay,
Well,
that's a
a
pretty
valid-
understandable
Give me a
complaint
kiss.
though.
Come kiss your daddy.
Oh my god! Oh
gosh.
my goodness!
Edit this out, Dave.
This is a kids show.
Mark the time, Dave. Kids show? I don't think this is a kids show.
No, it's not. It's not.
This is at least PG-13.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely above the G
I can make it R though, bro.
You could, but I'll slap you if you do.
That's what you do for Patreon.
Yeah, Patreon,
The
the
R-rated
uncensored,
version.
uncensored podcast.
Director's cuts with Landon just saying the F word all the time.
Mhm.
Yeah, we just open up, say it real quick a few times. Like, all right, another normal episode.
Welcome to the effing Hotkeys
Yeah,
podcast.
there you go.
Superman effing sucks. I was on my effing phone the whole time.
I'm effing bored. Have you seen the commercials for the Holy Moly show?
I saw some.
We talked about a little about it last week.
Yeah, I heard you.
But...
Your boy Steph.
Yeah, my boy Steph.
Go Dubs.
he likes LeBron, right?
Dubs will be back next year. They'll be back.
Was I wrong though? You like
I
LeBron?
love LeBron.
Yeah, okay.
LeBron's
okay.
the GOAT, greatest of all time.
What do you think? You think they're gonna be any good this year? They got Anthony Davis, right?
Oh, absolutely.
They gave away their whole team for him, though. Like...
You don't need a full team. Let me tell you something. LeBron James. LeBron James got to the finals with a guy named Matthew Dellavedova from Australia. Like, LeBron James went to the finals 8 years in a row. He doesn't need it. He just needs guys that can catch the ball and shoot three-pointers when he passes it to him.
How old is
Davis is going to be amazing.
How old is LeBron now?
I don't know how old he is. 35, I think? 36?
Yeah, like mid-30s.
He's getting up there. How many seasons do you think? He's got like 3 or 4 left, right? Maybe?
I think he's going to play 5 or 6 more.
You think he's going to play in his 40s?
Yeah, because his son is trying to get into the NBA, and he's going to want to play. I think he's going to want to play his last year with his son playing the first year.
Wait, how old is his son?
His son's in high school. His son could go straight to go 1 year of college and then go get drafted into the NBA. So if LeBron plays 5 more years, say his son's a sophomore in high school, he can make it.
Is his son like any good?
His son's good, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
LeBron Jr.
Is that his name, LeBron?
I think so.
I don't know what
I think
that's
his name's LeBron. They
That'd be
call
like
him
really
Bronny.
sad. Like if his kid gets in with him, they make it to the finals and this kid just like blows it. He like 2 free throws to like win the whole thing. They're down by 1. He just misses both of them. Like,
I think they take that chance though. Like to play with your son and go to the NBA finals.
That would be pretty cool.
They'd take that. That'd be the first time.
Has that ever been done?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. Like in any sport,
Well,
right?
Ken Griffey Jr. went and played baseball with his dad, but
Hmm.
I don't know. I think his dad might have been a coach.
Yeah,
Maybe
it
his dad
doesn't
was still
count.
playing. I don't know.
that would be cool.
But yeah, so I think he wants to do that. So I think he'll play. And he's only had 1 injury his whole career.
Is that like a shoulder?
No, he pulled his groin last year.
Oh.
So that's why he was.
I mean, he could have probably came back from that, right? Like it was.
Yeah, but they were not going to make the playoffs, so he's like, let's just take it easy.
How do you feel about the accusations that LeBron hates Superman?
How
would you feel? How would
he's
you feel?
LeBron James.
Okay, he's allowed to, but
He's
Landon's
allowed
not.
to. It's because, he's probably on his phone also. So. But LeBron's going to be in Space Jam too.
I haven't
Yeah,
seen
that's right.
Space Jam 1.
You should probably see Space Jam 1.
It's not that great of a movie.
Then welcome
But back to your holy moly. Sorry, I got on the LeBron tangent. Because I know most of your audience doesn't care about basketball.
They care about the Dubs. Steph and the boys.
They're going to be terrible next year.
Nah, man. Steph can carry that team.
No,
I don't know anything about basketball.
He's going to get
Every time basketball comes up, Landon talks about like he knows what he's talking about, but he
don't.
doesn't.
I just know I know like the Warriors, like the main 5 on the Warriors or whatever. That's all I know.
Did you see that video of they're outside like Oracle Arena during the finals, and the guy's like asking Warriors fans like who their favorite player is, and there's 2 girls, and he's like, it says like bandwagon fans, right? And he's like, so who's your favorite player on the Warriors? And she's like, it'd probably have to be Andre Green. And the guy's like, Andre Green? She's like, yeah, because there's a guy named Draymond Green, and there's a guy named Andre Iguodala. So she's like, put Andre Green, and the guy just like, do you mean Draymond Green? She's like, no, Andre Green. So it's like, nice.
Okay, sounds good.
Bandwagon fans. Holy moly! What were you gonna say about Holy Moly?
I was just gonna say if you were interested in it at all.
It's Wipeout.
It looks like a combination between Wipeout and like just ultimate mini golf.
Oh, did we talk about this last week?
Yeah, we went over.
I'd
it
like
last
to
week.
play in those. Like
that'd be fun.
even the Wipeout games, or what's that? It was on Spike, but it was like originally the.
Oh, like Ninja Warrior?
No, not Ninja Warrior. It was what Wipeout is like based off of.
Oh, like are you talking about like the old Japanese?
The
game
Rechiwarken.
show? Yeah.
I don't know what they.
Oh, I forgot the name of it, but yeah, I know what you're
But
talking
where they
about.
come out and be like, and it's like, I don't have any brains. Yeah. So I've always wanted to be in like in a show like that because I'm like, I feel like I could do a really good job at it, but then I'm like, I'd probably get destroyed.
Yeah, you don't know. You don't know.
It always seems easy, but then I'm like, it's probably gonna be super hard, like super slippery.
Well, yeah, because they always have like water and mud and like
Soap.
slime or soap or something like that. And I'm sure they don't like let you do a practice run.
Oh.
You know.
If I was a millionaire, I would want to like buy a house and just build one of those obstacle courses and just have friends
In the
over
house?
and like like outside, like have a massive pool and just build one of those things,
Yeah.
and then just have a bunch of friends over, have a barbecue, and just like
Yeah, just
have people
that,
run
yeah.
through it and just see.
I would definitely.
That'd be so
I would
fun.
definitely come over and hang out.
If I was a millionaire, I'd buy an island, and
Fire festival.
no, I'd make people fight to the death on that island, or human hunting. You know, the most dangerous sport.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's illegal. Like,
What?
even if you have that money, that doesn't mean you can kill people.
You got enough. If you get enough money,
Okay, when we were doing the Lion Scooters episode, we were talking about the homeless population here in Spokane.
you gotta cut
I mean-
that, you gotta cut that down. Put them on the island.
I didn't say that.
No, I'm saying it.
No.
It's an idea.
Well, then you could have
Just
like
toss it around, you know.
the winner.
Ben-
The winner gets a home.
There you go. It's like the Hunger Games.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
Except for the winner, instead of like getting like all the money ever, you get like a 1-bedroom apartment,
Yeah.
like downtown.
So what you're saying is you'd build like a homeless shelter where you would recruit the homeless to go to this island.
Make them.
They think they won a trip to this island.
Uh-huh.
You take 10 of them,
Uh-huh.
and
Oh,
then
no,
you drop them
more than
off
10.
in the middle, and then you say,
Yeah.
hey, guess what?
Yeah.
Only one comes back with me.
Uh-huh.
And then you just leave them there, and you have cameras everywhere.
I bet it'd be over within.
No,
5
I'd be
minutes.
walking around the jungle. It's a jungle island. You know, there's like snakes and quicksand, you know, for fun.
Booby
Yeah,
traps.
Yeah.
But how would you, what if you get killed?
the punji sticks, you know. Well, that's the game.
Well, no, Ben has guns though. They don't have guns. I
yeah.
feel like that's,
That's because I'd be
They
good.
have to make spears out of sticks and rocks.
Well, and that's the hunted becomes the hunter. You know, it's a
Wow.
good fun. Good
Let's
fun.
hope Ben never wins the lottery because
I think the odds are not in his favor, so I think
May
we're
the
good.
odds be ever in your favor. That's what I'll say.
you gotta think of something else though.
Yeah, it's
Then
trademarked.
you get sued. Well, homeless guys say, hey, isn't that from the Hunger Games?
You're the first to go.
Were you a fan of the Hunger Games films?
Hey, I don't think I gave them a fair shot,
Mm-hmm.
but I watched them all, but it was never something I was like really into.
I only watched the first one.
I thought the first one was fine, but then, you know, the next ones are just basically the first one over again.
Yeah, I like the Maze Runner movies. I like those better than the Hunger Games movies.
I never watched those.
Yeah, I
They're
didn't
pretty
watch
good.
those
I
either.
mean, they're not like amazing, but it's kind of like what you were saying about John Wick. Like, if you know what you're going into, it's just kind of like, oh, that was really good entertainment. That was a great action
Mhm.
movie. It's kind of the same thing with you're going into being like, it's kind of an action.
It's a young
movie,
adult.
Young
like,
adult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you watch the John Wick movies?
Yeah. Not the third one. I haven't seen the third one yet.
Okay. Do you like
Get him
them?
out of here.
I love the first two.
You'll probably like the third one. Though.
Yeah, and that's what I heard everyone saying. But
String
I
them
was
up.
thinking of going while my wife was gone because whenever she's around, it's kind of like now we have the our daughter. We're like, oh, who's gonna watch her?
Now you have to
and
be a
kinda thing.
parent and a
You know,
husband.
exactly. So, so I might try to do that before she comes Thursday.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's a great movie.
Yeah.
I want to see it again. It's that good.
Again.
Haven't you already seen it twice?
Yes.
What?
You go see movies a lot though.
If
Like-
they're good,
Yeah.
How many times did you go see Man of Steel theaters?
at least 12
Nice.
Not as much.
My man, he wasn't on his phone either.
times.
Not as much as I've seen Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, though. Got to keep up.
But you don't watch the original. You watch the new one.
I don't like it. It was in my past. Like, you can't change the past. It's a horrible mistake.
It wasn't even your mistake. It was
No.
your brother's mistake.
No, yeah, it was forced upon me.
That now I
Yeah.
can address that. You guys talking about Captain Sparrow
Oh, he's so good.
He's not. He's the most overrated
You talking about
character.
Jack Sparrow?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
He's the most
goat?
overrated character.
Best movies?
Oh, he's so. The thing that irritates me about him is he plays the same thing over and over again, over and over again, and he's not. He's the luckiest character ever. Like nothing he does is because he's awesome. Yeah. It's because he's an idiot, and it's like
That's pretty good. Okay, you're Jack Sparrow.
All right, you just.
I'm.
Congratulations, you just got the Jack Sparrow.
Paul Newman.
Yeah, I'm Randy Newman.
Randy Newman.
Yeah.
I like the first Pirates of the Caribbean film, and that's it. I don't like the rest
all
of them.
the music is great because that's Hans Zimmer.
Yeah, that's good.
Dun, 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 dun.
So good.
Yeah.
When I graduated from Whitworth, when we were walking in, that's the songs they were playing. Our orchestra was playing.
Wait,
I was like,
seriously? Oh wow,
Dun, 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 dun.
that's cool.
It's so funny hearing that soundtrack and then hearing the Gladiator soundtrack. They're so similar. It's same composer, Hans Zimmer.
That song specifically with the one with the I think it's the opening song when they're fighting the barbarians.
Yep. Yeah, it's like dun, 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 dun. Still good though.
Great soundtrack.
Yeah.
Greatest composer of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Landon, you're not really a music guy though.
No, I don't understand music. I can't even clap in rhythm, so.
Yeah, that's about music 101. So.
But you don't need to understand it.
I can
enjoy
appreciate it. Yeah.
Do you appreciate the Man of Steel soundtrack?
I don't remember it. I had my ears plugged, when I was on my phone.
Put headphones
Headphones
on.
in.
To answer his texts from a friend of the show, Colby, who was texting him.
He's not, he's not a friend of the show.
Acquaintance of the
He's an
show.
acquaintance of the show.
Yeah. Has he ever been on?
Yeah, a couple times.
Okay.
He went on. He wasn't the episode he was on. We didn't post though.
Oh, we didn't post
Because he
that one?
was so.
'Cause it was
bad.
that bad.
Oh, okay.
No, no. Maybe he was on one.
That's
we
what's
posted,
gonna
but he
happen
didn't-
with
he
this
didn't
one.
talk.
You're like, hey, Jonah, well, we were gonna post it, but Dave said it
File got-
got corrupted.
Yeah, file got corrupted.
It accidentally got deleted.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, anything else you guys want to talk about before we wrap up?
I don't know. I feel like we've talked about a lot of.
Trying to think of more funny Toy Story death scenes. I'm sure there's something, but no, I'll
There's
save them for
There's
next
almost a tragic one in the start of 4. Like,
time. Don't tell me.
no,
I can't take it.
it's in the flashbacks. It's like the character.
Don't tell me Slinky dies.
No.
They melt him.
I think I fear he like gets
They
pulled
snip
between.
a slinky.
Like, he gets like pulled between two cars.
That part was awesome, though.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
The opening.
visually,
in the
the
first one.
rain.
Oh, it looks so.
I don't know
good.
what it was.
So real.
That scene especially, it looked real.
I was like, how are they doing this?
Yeah.
Like the rain. We should have been like in a 4D thing where like they spray water on it. So I was like, I leaned over to my brother and I was like, this looks insane.
Mhm.
It's just incredible how
The
far
graphics.
the technology
Look
has
at
come.
the graphics. That's how you know it's a good movie. Is the graphics.
Yeah.
Now I feel like old man Landon. Wow, look at the graphics on that. That looks like a real movie. How are they doing that?
Must be stop motion for the toys.
I'm an old man trapped in a young
In
person's
a
body.
slightly younger man's body.
Yeah, in a slightly younger man's body.
You have knee problems.
Yeah.
And you're just falling apart over there.
I'm surprised you even know how to use your cell phone.
I don't know how to use it that well, actually.
You should see the cell phone that he does have. It like barely works.
What, is it a flip phone?
No.
It should be.
Landon's agreeing to go to the Toy Story movie. Yeah, I'd love to go down to the picture show.
Yeah.
Yeah, is a ticket still 30 cents?
Yeah, maybe might get a sody pop.
My brother was laughing at you. That he's like, did Landon just go and get waters?
I love that because I told you how it was gonna go down too.
I know, but you were like,
He gets his little cup of
you're
water.
like, I love standing in line for
great.
5 minutes, getting all the way up there, and then asking for water with no ice. I was
Yeah.
like,
and then Jonah's in the
You
other.
love the weirdest things.
Jonah's in the other line. Jonah's in the other line. We both get up at the same time. And I asked for the water. He's like, wait, so like just a water cup? I'm like, yeah. And then like, he's like, you want ice with that? I said, no. And I could like tell Jona looked over at me. Like,
I did look over because I was like, because the guy's kind of just like, okay. And that was, but what was so funny is you're like, I love doing this. I'm like, why do you love doing this?
I love
He does
doing
it every time.
Yeah, I do it every time. It makes me like.
You get your water and you're like, inside you're like, got him.
And you gotta get a girlfriend or something.
No, yeah.
You get out of the
It's the
That
perfect.
and then you guys can do it together.
You can get 2 waters.
Both ask for water.
first date. Yeah.
Well, it's the perfect amount of water. Like it's just
No,
like
it's
cups.
not.
No, it is.
I
It
want
is.
more.
No, 'cause
What's
if you
the
drink,
perfect amount of water?
well, that amount for the movie because like if you drink more, then you're like, then you gotta pee. You know, or you're thinking about peeing like that. It's like
Can you go in with a water bottle, like one of those
nope.
Nalgene bottles, and be like,
I don't think so.
hey,
No,
can
they
you
don't.
fill this up with water?
No, they don't.
No. It's really dumb. They want you to spend money.
You have to hide your own
It's
water
dumb though
bottle
because they
in your
have drinking
jacket.
fountains there. You can just fill it up on the drinking fountain.
They have drinking fountains?
Don't they?
They won't
I
even
don't
let.
think so.
Oh,
don't
that's
think they
right.
do.
There's sinks in the bathroom.
Yeah, you can use those.
That's the urinal, Jonah.
By the way,
I've been
that
drinking out of-
bathroom smells
No, it did.
delicious.
It did smell good.
Delicious.
Their urinal cake things were like
urinal
citrus.
cakes.
I went in there and I was like, oh, this is great.
Why can't the movie be projected in here? Smells. It did smell better in there than in the movie theater.
I sure do love urinal cakes.
Well, hats off to them.
Yeah.
Because I used to like do janitorial at the church, so we'd get those things, and they never worked.
Well, those
so
were,
when I
were
got in
those
there, I
like
was
the old-fashioned ones where it looked like a hockey puck?
No, they were the pads like they have at the movie theater.
Urinal pads.
Ugh.
They're chewy, they're
They
not
were
crunchy.
they smelled great.
Urinal pad sounds way
Hats
worse
off,
than
hats
urinal
off,
cake.
hats off to Regal for their smelling bathrooms.
That's
Yeah. They must have just cleaned them and put new ones in or something.
Probably.
Like,
Probably.
I think they owe us money now, don't they? We mentioned their name.
yeah.
They're a sponsor of the show.
Yeah.
Go to www.regal.com/hotkeys.
You guys need to start doing just fake
Fake ads.
fake ads.
That'd be great.
Can we do that?
Doesn't Jesse's wife own a like bath bombs thing? Have her sponsor your show.
No.
Oh, that's funny.
You know what I'd love to do?
Crack me up.
You know what I'd love to do is grab different lines. Say, okay, we were talking about Toy Story. What if we grabbed like just random lines from the movie? Like there's a snake in my boot, and we just applied that somewhere else. It'd be funny. All right, cut
Wait,
this
what-
out. Never mind.
what?
Okay. We're
What?
good. You better end it right now.
Wait,
'cause-
no, we're gonna talk about this.
Okay,
No,
Well,
no, you gotta explain yourself.
what?
Okay, so when you said that you wanted to throw Jona out and like get out of here, for not seeing John Wick 3,
Oh,
I wanted to say tie him up by his pole string. It would have been so funny
yeah.
because that happened in the first Toy Story.
Man,
Woo!
you're a hoot, man.
Tie him up by his pole string,
Yeah.
Because he didn't watch John Wick 3.
Yeah, man. Yeah. We'll have Dave put it in, but
Okay,
don't worry.
yeah, you were right. Dave, cut this out.
I done told you. It just crazy
Oh.
idea came to my mind. I was like,
Crazy idea.
yeah,
Crazy.
it's out there.
Can't believe how
It's so
insane that
crazy.
idea
Don't
was.
you guys just think it's so crazy?
So crazy. Oh my gosh.
This has gone downhill very fast.
Yeah,
That's
that's why they don't let me speak too much.
that's why your mic is muted, for
Yeah,
half
yeah.
hour.
Yeah.
So, what do you think about the podcast, Jonah?
It's
Pretty good.
You guys have a sweet setup.
Yeah.
My clean apartment. It's just a great
It
place
smells
to
like the
record.
urinals in Regal.
High praise.
Like heaven.
Yeah. Well, we were glad to have you on.
Yeah, thanks for having me,
I
guys.
hope you
Appreciate it.
I hope you come on soon next
Yeah.
time.
Next
Maybe.
time you give us $100, I mean, it's not cheap to get on this show.
Worth it though.
Oh,
Worth
yeah.
every penny.
Yeah.
Aw, thanks. Well, thanks for joining us this week. Landon and Ben, thanks for joining us as always. Me, thanks for joining us. You can find us on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, CastBox, YouTube, and other podcasting platforms. And visit our website at www.hotkeyspodcast.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at Hotkeys Podcast and join our Facebook group at facebook.com/podcast.hotkeys. You can also email us and contact us at hosts@hotkeyspodcast.com. If you want, you don't have to.
But
Let us know what you think
but
about the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give us feedback.
Give us money.
Give us money, please. Anyway, okay. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.